Hello, welcome to evening's presentation. We will begin in a few minutes. We are going to let all attendees in before we start. Hello, if you were just joining us, we are going to begin in a few minutes. We are going to let all attendees in before we get started. Welcome. If you are just joining us, we will begin in a few moments. We are going to let all attendees in before getting started. Right, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome to tonight's presentation in our On Track series for the class of 2028. My name is Carrie Talbot. I am a Student Success Advisor Curriculum Specialist at ICAN, and I am joined by my colleague Eric Danielson, and he will be joining later. He's on the call, but he will be speaking during our panelist presentation. Tonight, a few housekeeping things. We are recording tonight's presentation, and it will be available after this evening on our website to go back and view if you would like. We also have the chat feature enabled for tonight. So if you have any questions this evening throughout any part of the presentation, please feel free to drop those into the chat, whether they are regarding high school. We will have college panelists joining us later this evening, as well as college students and high school counselors. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat at any time. So before we begin, I do want to talk a little bit about ICAN, just in case you are not familiar with our services. ICAN has been around in Iowa for over 20 years. We are a nonprofit whose mission is to empower Iowans to find success in career, college, and life. This evening, we are going to be talking about the freshman year and everything to do to be successful while in high school. We have some great resources available to freshman students, and we will drop them into the chat, and they can be found on our website as well. We have the Freshman Transitions Guide. This is a great beginning guide to high school, how to be successful in high school, about GPAs, picking classes, and starting that college and career planning process. We also have a countdown to your future calendar. This is a month-by-month calendar that has about 3 to 5 items, checklist items, for you to complete each month. By completing those items each month, you are well on your way to prepare for your career and post-secondary education and training options. ICAN offers a wide variety of advising services to students, families, and schools. We offer everything in the college exploration and planning area, starting with those first introductory exploratory assessments that students can take, all the way through the college planning, post-secondary training options, through selection, applications, as well as where to look for and how to help pay for college with scholarships. And what we are probably most well known for is that FAFSA completion, helping students and families complete and fill out that FAFSA, that free application for federal student aid. So tonight we are going to talk all about the freshman year, high school, and what you can do to be successful throughout high school. And that really starts with a well-rounded experience in your academics, your extracurricular, with what work you do, and your social life. So academically, picking choices and classes that fit into your future plans, your future career, your future post-secondary plans. Those well-rounded academic or extracurricular activities, getting a variety of activities within the sports that you are offered at and participate in, the clubs, extracurricular as well that you participate in, joining speech, joining drama, joining that art club, all of those extracurricular clubs and organizations at high school. as well as work. If you decide while in high school, getting a part-time job or even volunteering throughout high school, getting some of those experiences in throughout high school. And lastly, that social life, creating a positive social life and making responsible choices, as those do have an impact on your post-secondary and career options as well. In high school, it is important to have a plan. It's important to know what you potentially want to do after high school. It doesn't have to be set in stone, but starting to explore and having a plan of maybe what career you want to go into and how you are going to pursue that career. It's important to plan and explore in order to find what you like, and so that way you can pursue that after high school. Some ways to do this is to think about people you know and what jobs they have and what careers they are in. And do you enjoy those jobs and careers? Do you think you would want to be part of that career industry? And then talking with them and asking them how they got to where they are, what education and training they needed for their career as well. When it comes to career exploration, there are 14 career clusters that Advanced CTE, the organization that sets the national framework for the recognized career clusters. There are 14 career clusters that are recognized. And as you can see, these are on the screen in front of you. So any career that you might be thinking about would fall into one of these clusters. Exploring these clusters is a great way to understand maybe which ones you identify with, not necessarily a specific career, but the cluster that you identify with. And then you can start exploring all the career opportunities within that specific cluster to find the one that you think might fit the best with you. And then once you have your career that you might want to pursue, or you're thinking that that is a career that fits you, you then look at the education and training options that will fit for that career, that will lead to that career destination. All of those clusters have a variety of pathways for education and training. You can take an apprenticeship or career training program. You can go through a diploma or a certificate training. You can go through a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, or a graduate program. No matter which route you take, you can pursue the careers that are most interesting for you. So for example, you might be interested in the health sciences career cluster. So you could go through and take an apprenticeship or a career training program in the health sciences and become a certified nurse assistant. You could go through a diploma or certificate training and become a dental assistant. You could go through a 2-year nursing degree at a community college. You could go through a 4-year nursing degree to have a bachelor's at a 4-year institution, or you can go on to graduate work and become a doctor. So in that one cluster, there are a wide variety of education and training options to pursue. While you are looking at your career options and your post-secondary options, it's important to continuously look at that 4-year plan. You probably just did that 4-year plan for the first time this past spring when you were in 8th grade, which outlined kind of the classes you thought you might take each year of high school. So it is important, and it will be utilized multiple times throughout high school, to keep track of that plan and to go back to that plan and refresh it. Looking at that plan and making sure that you have all of your high school graduation requirements on there so you can graduate high school. And then once going back through that 4-year plan and making sure that you're looking at the education and training programs that you are interested in, so those colleges, and making sure that you are meeting their admissions requirements. We have, like I mentioned, universities on this evening for our panelists. So if you have questions about admissions requirements, you can definitely ask them. But you can look to make sure, for example, we have Kirkwood on the panelists tonight. You can, if you're interested in Kirkwood, you can go to their website and make sure that you are meeting their admissions requirements by adding the prerequisite courses you need to your high school plan. And then lastly, it's always important to include courses that your high school offers for the career you want to pursue. So if you are wanting to pursue a career in welding or in the industrial technology area, making sure to include the intro to engineering classes that your high school has, the welding classes, the construction classes, all of those classes in that career area you are looking at, to ensure that you are getting some of that feel for what you will be learning and doing on the job in those career areas. One way to help with your 4-year plan is looking at what's called optimum preparation. This is directly from our Iowa Board of Regents, which is our 3 state schools in the state of Iowa. So Iowa State, UNI, University of Northern Iowa, and the University of Iowa. This is what's called optimum preparation. It is what they recommend optimally to be prepared for college and the college rigor. As you can see, there are 4 years of English, math, and science that they say optimally. It's not required, it's just that optimum preparation. 3 to 4 years of social studies, 4 years of world language, and 1 to 3 years of those electives. So it's not required, but why have optimum preparation? Well, optimum preparation ensures that you are ready for that college rigor of courses while in college. It also helps to ensure that if you are going to pursue any career field in maths and sciences, you have enough of those subject areas to be ready to go for those majors. And lastly, it's just to ensure that you are not having to take any remedial courses while in college. Remedial courses mean those courses that you take to get up to that college level. These remedial courses are ones that don't necessarily count towards your major or your college degree, but you're still required to take them as well during that time, and they cost just as much as those other classes as well. So besides your 4-year planning, it's also important to be active and involved while in high school. Like I mentioned, those extracurricular activities that you can be doing while you are in high school to gain those experiences and skills outside of the classroom. Not only will they help you to explore potential career options, but they will help build leadership skills, teamwork, organization, and time management. So these are great skills to build on and to improve on, as many colleges and scholarships down the road, when you want to apply for those scholarships to help pay for college, like to see students that have been involved, have leadership, can work as a team, and have great organization and time management skills as well. So like I said, those scholarships means free money to help pay for college. Well, how can you help yourself to get some scholarships? One way to do that is being involved and doing well in school. So getting involved in clubs and extracurriculars. Tell you a quick story right here, I was working with a student who was denied admissions to her top school that she wanted to for college. She asked the admissions officer why she was denied admissions, and they said because you weren't involved in high school. The student was the top of the class, valedictorian, bright shining star, but the only thing this student focused on was getting good grades and going to class every day. The student never participated in any clubs or extracurricular activities, was never in any sports, and didn't do any volunteering. And that admissions officer told her that they wanted to see students involved in high school. Great grades are an amazing thing to have, an important thing to focus on, but also being involved and showing some of those other skills is just as important as those great academics. So parents, what can you do? You are a great avenue for support and guidance for students to teach them some of those life skills, that time management, and that money management. So some of those life skills that all students need to know before they graduate high school and go on to college is laundry, how to do cooking, how to do basic car maintenance, making sure that when they get to those dorms that they will be able to know how to take their laundry, separate their laundry, and put it into the washer so they don't get any pink socks when it comes out of the washing machine. Helping them now to focus on time management, whether that's teaching them how to use a personal calendar, a paper, or on an app, and helping them to put down all of their appointments, all of their assignments that are due, and any of their involvement that they're in, and showing them how to time manage and prioritize their time. When they get to college or any post-secondary avenue, they're not going to have the structured in the seat classroom from 8 to 3. And so it's important to help them figure out how to prioritize and manage their time now so that they will be successful come college and any of their post-secondary options. And to help them get those people skills. So being that articulate, well-dressed professional, teaching them those soft skills that work employers are looking for. So those confident handshakes, those eye contacts, posture, public speaking, how to speak with a boss or a potential employer, as opposed to speaking with friends or family. And lastly, money management. Having them have a bank, making sure that they're set up with a checking and/or savings account and know how to use that online bank. So that when they go off to college and start their first job, they have a place to get all of their money, as well as how to budget and stick to a budget, how to set up a budget, and then credit. Once they start graduating high school, they are probably going to start getting letters for credit cards. It starts happening soon. So teaching them what credit cards are and the good and the bads of credit cards, and if they should take out a credit card, what that means in terms of interest rates, paying that back, and preventing them from going into debt when they don't need to. So to help you with all of this, ICAN is here. We have e-alerts available to students and families. We provide tips of the week videos. We provide grade level alerts, e-alerts, event alerts, reminders, and we are on social media. You can sign up for these e-alerts right on our website, and I will drop that in the chat here once I'm done. These are great ways to help you stay and get some pointers throughout high school on what to do and what to be involved in. And like I said, we are on social media, so you can follow us there as well to get all of our information. We do webinars, weekly webinars. You can follow along there as well when we Facebook live stream those every Wednesday. We do also have, to help you with your career and college exploration, a college fair coming up this Sunday, the 22nd. So in just a few days, it will be in Altoona at the Prairie Meadows in Altoona. It is from 1 to 3 this coming Sunday. It is a great opportunity for you to come to meet hundreds of colleges, businesses, military representation is there at this fair on Sunday to already help you with that college and post-secondary planning. Again, no matter what route you want, apprenticeships we have there, military and colleges will all be at this fair on Sunday, Prairie Meadows from 1 to 3. We also have a dedicated military career fair. This says specifically Thursday, October 17th. This one is in Hiawatha. We also have one on October 21st over in Ankeny. And then on the 29th, we have one in Cedar Falls. So if you are interested in any branch of the military, please plan on coming to one of those fairs as well. We have representation from all branches. We have enlistment side and ROTC side, as well as academies, so like Marines academies. So please plan on joining us at those fairs as well if you are interested in the military. And I do have some amazing guests on tonight to talk about some services and scholarships that they have available to students that even ninth graders can start tapping into. So first up, I'm going to have Tara come on, and she's going to talk about a student planting pointers for parents, or an SP3 service that is available.
Thank you, Carrie. Again, my name is Tara, and I'm with ISL Education Lending. We are a nonprofit in the state that has been around for over 40 years. And our mission is to help Iowa students and families succeed in post-secondary education. We do this through scholarships, free online planning tools, and then we also offer educational loans. So as Carrie said, the first thing I'm going to talk about is a service designed specifically for parents. It's the Student Planning Pointers for Parents. And it is a free email service for parents of students in 8th through 12th grade. And what it does is we send out 2 emails a month to talk about topics and give you tips and resources that are relevant to your student's grade level. So for example, as parents of freshmen, some of the topics that you would read about would be helping your students understand financial literacy and the importance of saving for college, learning the value of earning college credit in high school, kind of starting to explore college costs and financial aid options, and understand how being involved in volunteer work and part-time jobs and activities can help add to that resume. So really topics that complement the efforts of what Carrie talked about that ICAN offers and your school counselors. Registration is very easy. You can register at sp3.org. And then the other good part about this program is you have opportunities to win money for college. So as you read your articles each month and answer a survey question, you get entries into our quarterly drawing. So every quarter we give away 40 $250 deposits into 529 savings plan, and you have multiple opportunities to win that money. The next program I want to talk about that is also relevant to both freshman high school students and their parents is our scholarship program that's open right now. So it's open now through December 2nd. So make sure and get signed up for that. So for this semester, we're giving away 45 $1,000 deposits into college savings accounts. So a great way to start your college savings plan. It's open, like I said, Iowa residents to our Iowa high school students. So again, this is a scholarship that freshmen can take advantage of. It's also open to undergraduate college students, and then parents, by registering yourself, you would have an additional opportunity or chance to win. It's a random drawing, and then once you register, you go through a couple of tips on college planning, and then we also email you a few tips throughout the registration period, again, to help you with that college planning process. So 2 great opportunities to win some money for college and also get some educational aspects to it as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Tara. These are great services. We had somebody on the chat say that they actually are signed up already for the SP3 service, and they actually did win in one of the rounds. So yes, sign up for the SP3 and be one of those lucky winners as well. So thank you, Tara.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, I'm going to have Danielle with the Bureau of Iowa College Aid talk about a texting program they have available to students.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. Nice to see all of you guys this evening. We wanted to just share with you one other option that we have, very similar to the resource that is provided through ICAN. We provide through texting. And so this way, if you sign up for both of our programs, you're going to get a lot of information offered to you in 2 different ways, via email and via text. And so this program is for students and parents in grades 9 through 12. You can sign up to receive those text messages through our program. What is nice about our program is that once you receive text messages from us and you start to respond back, you will start to communicate one-on-one with an actual person. We do not AI generate any messages. Nothing comes other than something that is clearly typed from one of our coworkers, Elizabeth Yedoff. And so she produces all of the messages. She sends them out to you in a mass message. But once you have questions, once you want to interact, that is a one-to-one conversation. The conversations and topics that are provided through this texting program are surrounding ideas about college application, FAFSA, studentaid.gov accounts, financial aid reviews, scholarship applications right to your phone, tips and reminders about going through the college going steps, and then also information and reminders about regional events that would be in your region. What you would receive right now as a freshman student and or parent is going to really be focused around those steps that you need to take to be college ready. And so you would be receiving topics and conversations about what is happening or what you need to be doing in those areas. I'm going to go ahead and send the link for this. When you decide, or if you decide to do this, you can either scan this QR code or you can click the link that I'll be sending in the chat, and you'll fill it out for yourself one time. And then if you're a student or a parent, you'll fill it out for the other person, the other process through. So I'll go ahead and send that on. If there are any questions as you're going through these things, don't hesitate to send that conversation back and we will have someone in contact with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Danielle. We are now going to turn it over to the Q&A panel portion of our evening with our college representatives and students, college students, as well as school counselors. So if you have any questions again during this time, please drop them into the chat and we will get them answered for you through this time. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Eric.
All right, thanks, Carrie. Appreciate it. I'm Eric Danielson with the Iowa College Access Network, and happy to have you all here tonight. We've got a great group of panelists, and I'm going to go around real quick and have each of them introduce themselves. I'm going to start with our school counselors at first, and Chambray, I'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Chambray Burke. I'm a school counselor, a student success coordinator here at Boone High School. And I, before this, was an English teacher at the secondary level as well. So thank you guys for having me.
Great to have you here. Thanks, Chambray. And then also another school counselor that is here is Brett.
Thank you so much. I'm Brett Steelman. I am here perhaps in two capacities. I serve on the ISCA board as the communications chair, and so you might be hearing from me in those regards as well. And I'm also a school counselor at Roosevelt High School in Des Moines.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brett, for being here as well. Looking forward to asking you both and Chambray some questions and getting your perspectives helping these high school freshman students and families. We've also got admissions representatives that are here tonight, and I'm going to start with Tyler first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler, Associate Director of Admissions here at Kirkwood. I'm from Fort Dodge, Iowa. Originally went to the community college in my hometown, Iowa Central, trying to figure out what I was doing, kind of like a lot of us here tonight. Ended up transferring to Mount Mercy University in Cedar Rapids, graduated, worked there for about 6 years, so the small private college side. I've been at Kirkwood for about 4.5 years now.
Thanks, Tyler, and thanks for coming in tonight. Looking forward to asking you some questions as well, with really having a couple of different perspectives from where you've worked at too. We do have a private college represented here tonight, also here in Iowa, from Briarcliff. And Nellie, thanks for being here.
Yep, thank you. My name's Nellie Serta. I am actually the international recruiter for at Briarcliff University. Graduated from there back in 2017 with a business administration major, and stuck around right after graduation. So we're located in Sioux City, Iowa, private Catholic Franciscan University. Thank you for having us today.
And Nellie, you brought a student along tonight that we're going to ask some questions to as well. And I'm going to have Britton introduce himself right now.
Hello, my name is Britton McKenzie. I am a student of Briarcliff University, and I am currently a sophomore.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time. I know it gets busy, with this semester you're going on right now, Britton, but thank you very much for being here tonight. We've also got a Regent University that is represented tonight from the University of Iowa. Chris.
Hi, Eric. Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, thanks for ICAN for putting this on. They do a really outstanding work for us in our state, and we're lucky to have them. Chris Trado, one of the associate directors. I help oversee all the outreach and recruitment within the state of Iowa here at the University of Iowa. So looking forward to the next hour or so with everyone.
Thanks, Chris. And you also brought a student tonight, Maisie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maisie. I'm a current senior at the University of Iowa. I'm actually getting ready to graduate this December. I'm a speech and hearing sciences major with a minor in psychology. I'm originally from Des Moines, Iowa. I went to Waukee. And I'm an admissions representative for the Office of Admissions, which basically means I do a little bit of Chris's job, but I also do a little bit of student representation and attending different things like this. If you ever visit the University of Iowa, I'll probably be giving your presentation or something like that.
Well, thanks, Maisie, for being here. I know you were saying that you had possibly a little spotty internet, but you sound great so far. So just wanted to let you know that. And again, thanks for being here. All right, we're gonna dive into the questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and we will try to, whether we answer them in the chat box or even address them live with our panelists. But I am going to start off with our school counselors first. And Chambray, I'm going to start with you. What are some of the most important things students, this could be academically, socially, kind of open-ended, most important things students should be doing as high school freshmen?
So one of the big things transferring into the ninth grade year is how do we stay on top of the schoolwork? And so building in those habits of writing things down. Do I have a consistent place that I am going and putting everything because as there's different content teachers, we don't necessarily have a homeroom anymore. And so you're having different workloads, there's different expectations and procedures for different classes. And so going in with that game plan of, okay, here is my current course load, these are my classes for this semester, here's where everything that I need to do for all of these different courses are going. And then as guardians, when I'm working with my freshman students, in all high school, but especially like instilling those habits, is having guardians check in with those planners and where they're writing them down at night. Hey, what did we do at school? And that really also helps facilitate conversation at home about what's going on, what are we learning? And then if a student goes, oh, I'm not really getting, in this class, or I'm not quite sure what's going on. And then how do we facilitate those conversations then with teachers? So it seems kind of simple, but actually establishing and organizing those habits and putting down our schoolwork can really help kind of guide some potential support conversations that need to take place.
Thank you. Brett, I'll come to you with the same question. What are some important things that you've seen that students should be doing as high school freshmen?
Yeah, in addition to what Chambray said of staying on top of schoolwork and really working on those executive functioning skills, I would also add that it is important to be involved. For example, at Roosevelt, we have a goal for 80% of students to be involved in some sport or activity. And one of the reasons that we think that's so important, have made that a priority, is because it kind of serves like as a bookend to your day. Sometimes your activities in the morning, or sometimes your activities after school, and it just gives you an extra sliver of your day to rely on. Like, there are things that you can always expect when you're in an activity. There are peer relationships that you can develop in activities and that kind of thing, and mentorship from coaches or club supervisors too. So it's just another way to grow your social circle and to have another opportunity to be successful.
All right, thank you, Brett. I'm going to turn it over now for a question to our admissions reps. And Tyler, I'm going to start with you on this one. What advice would you give younger students just beginning to think about life after high school and potentially going to college, even now as high school freshmen that we're talking with tonight?
I probably want to let you guys know, don't panic. You're doing okay. My parents did not go to college. We had zero clue what we were doing. And when everyone's asking me, where are you going? What are you studying? What are you doing? I think that instills some panic in us, thinking we need to know. I didn't do my first college visit till May of my senior year. I was trying to figure it all out in a couple of months. So everyone who's on this call tonight is already off to a great start, doing way better than I did. I'm hoping my counterparts here would agree, but you just get out there and visit places. We're all biased. We love where we went and where we work, and all of our schools and colleges are great, and they are. But it's not our job to tell you that Kirkwood or Iowa or Briarcliff is best for you. That's for you guys to decide. So you'll know that. The students on here would probably agree. Visit multiple places, and you'll know by the time you're driving home which one's probably the best fit for you.
Thanks, Tyler. Nellie, same question to you. Advice giving younger students just beginning to think about life after high school.
Yeah, so I think from personal experience, it is okay if you're not exactly sure what you want to do after graduating from high school, especially as a freshman. I would not expect any freshman to know what they're doing right now, but I think probably the best advice is to really take advantage of those dual credit courses that you guys are offered in high school. I personally did take advantage of that only to find out what I did not like. So I knew, by taking some of those classes, what I didn't like. So then I was like, okay, not going to go that path then. So went a different way instead. So those dual credit courses that went while you're in high school can actually really determine what you want to do in college and after graduation. So that would be my one advice as freshmen. It's never too early to start looking into those classes. I know that sometimes, depending on what high school you go to, might determine when you can start taking those classes. But I would say as soon as you can, definitely start looking into those.
Great advice from Tyler and Nellie. Chris, I'm going to come with you. Anything else to add on, some advice you'd give these young high school freshmen?
Yeah, the only thing I'd add, Eric, is as Tyler hit on a little bit, we're fortunate in our state to have really great private schools, community colleges, and in our three region schools really spattered all over the state. So no matter where you're connecting with us from right now, you're in proximity of being able to get access. And I say that in the sense of summer vacations, summer trips across the state, across the upper Midwest, wherever you land. Maybe that's just a quick detour. Not saying you have to set up an official visit with any of our campuses, but to even drive through those campuses, get out, check the rec center out, check the library out. It's a really low impact in the sense of just being able to get your first experience and your first exposure to college campuses. And I'll end with on this one at least. Enjoy your time, right? We're going to give you probably this advice at the end, but as freshmen, just be talking to upperclassmen or to parents and soaking it all in and being like, is this something I can see myself doing? And if so, there are plenty of people, individuals on this Zoom right now that are here to help you.
Thank you, Chris, which we talk about soaking it in and getting advice from students and even upperclassmen. Let's bring in our college students right now. Britton, I'm going to start with you. Kind of the same question that I just asked the admissions folks, but what advice would you give young high school students right now that you thought was helpful when you were in their position?
I would say to all high schoolers, just get involved in whatever you can that's available at your school. Any extracurriculars are amazing. Like they help you have a good time, but also colleges love to see that because they know it makes you a more well-rounded person. So you can get involved, maybe even lead a club or start a club, and that'll look really good for you. It'll be a fun experience for you and really make you well-rounded, as well as just using any resources that your school can provide for you, whether it be a counselor, a school visit that they provide. Really take advantage of all those opportunities that they're providing for you.
Britton, I just want to ask you real quick, did you take advantage of like when admissions reps had come to the school just directly to talk in a little bit? Did you take advantage of those in high school?
At the start of my high school experience, not really, because I didn't see college as like what I really wanted to go to. But as I started getting more through it, I was like, actually, those schools would have been really fun to talk to. I knew people that ended up going to those schools, and I started getting more and more involved in those. By the end, I was I was checking off every table that came to visit.
Thank you. Great advice there. Coming now to Maisie. Maisie, same question to you. The advice that you would give these high school freshmen right now.
Definitely. One of my biggest pieces of advice is to start early, which you all already are doing. So props to you for that. Start looking early, start touring early. I pretty much always knew college was in the cards for me just based on kind of the path I wanted to go down and what I wanted the end goal to be. I actually started touring colleges my sophomore year of high school. And every time I would visit a college and I would say that I was a sophomore, everyone would be like, oh my gosh, so early for you to be doing that. But I don't regret it at all. It allowed me more time to visit more schools, to go back to schools that I was more interested in, really get in touch with them. And kind of my other thing, just enjoy your high school experience too. I know college can be stressful and thinking about trying to apply, and making sure you're taking, every credit under the sun to get into it. It's not that deep. I mean, if college is in the cards for you, you're gonna know. Um, and you're probably going to know a little bit earlier. And so just getting out and touring them and kind of asking about their different academic programs and what they do to supplement students and help them through it as well. And then real quick, last piece of advice, if your school has like an honors program or honor society, I would definitely recommend taking advantage of that. Also getting volunteer hours in looks really, really good. My school had a program where you got actually a new cord. It was called the Silver Cord. If you had X amount of volunteer hours, and that really, really helped me. I think colleges love to see that. You're not only involved, but you're also involved in like acts of service.
You had mentioned you had went to starting visiting earlier. Did you take advantage of college fairs like the one we've got available this Sunday, the Golden Circle College Fair, early on in high school?
I did. Yes. Like I said, I knew very early on college was in the cards for me. So any and every college fair that I knew that was available around me that I was available for, I would go to it. I was the person at the Iowa State Fair that just wanted to go and visit all the colleges in the varied industries building and learn from them and get the free swag from them, things like that. I was also the person who found out who the admissions counselor was for my region and emailed them a bunch of questions. I think my admissions counselors got kind of sick of hearing from me, but yes, I definitely took advantage, and that definitely helped me because you can kind of make those interpersonal connections and ask those, kind of more specific questions that you have to those people that are right in front of you, which was really awesome.
Great. Well, thank you. And that is one big advantage in one setting. Again, plugging it this Sunday in Altoona. We're going to have all the colleges that are here tonight, plus, near 100 represented. Great place in one setting to get a lot of questions answered. All right, going to come back to our school counselors now with another question. Brett, I'll start with you this time. What are some mistakes you see students make as high school freshmen?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say, in retrospect, one of the biggest mistakes I think I see is students showing up late to class, students showing up, or pardon me, showing up late, but also leaving early, and thereby not necessarily giving themselves the best opportunity to create relationships with their teachers. And those relationships are going to be the most important aspect of your student success, but also like overall success and like just well-being success, you know what I mean? And so not having relationships with your teachers, and then other mistakes would be also just like showing up. Chronic absenteeism is a big thing right now in the state of Iowa. It's something that we're all looking at, and you can make arguments one way or another. That's the one thing that we should be looking at, but make sure that you do show up to school, preferably on time, but just like make sure that you get there. And then once you're there, develop those relationships with the people that are there to help you.
Thanks, Brett. That's a great point. I know that that's stressed at orientations when students are going to college, right before they're going on to college, and you're talking about, but great thing to stress as well, even in high school too. Chambray, come back to you with the same question as well. Any mistakes that you see students making as high school freshmen?
Yeah, one of them is getting out of the comfort zone. And so it's really important to build that confidence and feel okay to take those academic risks. Alongside, like with Brett, I'm also an ISCA board member, and we have so many like school counselors in this state that are bending over backwards with creative thinking of what are different programs, different services, what are different opportunities for students. And so the other half of that then is starting your freshman year and going, okay, I'm going to take full advantage of these. I'm going to get out of that comfort zone. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to try new things. And so, also don't be afraid. I think one of those things too is, well, I think I like this, and so I'm going to just take these classes. Or I think this is what I want to do. Learning is messy. And I think it's really important with that confidence and willingness to take those academic risks is to try classes. And just like what was mentioned earlier in this panel is you also need to find out for sure of things you don't like. And so be willing to go out and just to try different things. That's also the beauty of high school is you have a lot of different course offerings.
Thanks, Chambray. I do think that's very important. Sometimes finding what you don't like as well as what you do, just as important as what you do like. So thank you. Going back to our admissions, folks, Nellie, I'm going to come with you on this first one. Wanted to talk about the first 2 years in high school, how it could impact admissions. And really, it's kind of combined with a question I was going to ask all of you is really how important do you consider the freshman, sophomore classes to the admissions process?
Yep. So for Briarcliff admissions, really the main thing that we focus on for admissions is going to be the GPA. Your grade point average is going to be the most important thing that we look at. So whatever you report on your application, whatever's on your transcript for your grade point average is going to be very important. So even though you're just a freshman, doesn't mean that doesn't matter. We look at that your grades starting freshman year. So you might be like, I still got another 4 years. I'm going to slack off a little bit. But that's not the right mindset to have, because we do look at those grades starting freshman year. So sometimes, a student may not meet the requirements for admissions, and we'll look at that trend. What happened? What grades was it that you struggled? Was it freshman? Did you get senioritis? You know, what happened? So we do look at the grades and what year you might have struggled a little bit to determine the acceptance. So even though you're just a freshman, keep your grades up. Try because we'll look at that.
Thanks, Nellie. It really does start now for them, I think, is what
does.
you're saying. Absolutely. Chris, I wanted to come to you next. Anything else you might want to add to that? But also, if you wouldn't mind maybe mentioning some classes, I guess you would encourage students to be taking, you know, maybe core classes that they should be taking throughout high school.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to Nellie is she did a great job of explaining that, but is that when we're looking at applications right now of these seniors, just started their senior year, we're making a decision on on whether they're going to get in or not get in, based off of 3 years, really, the freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So Eric, when you framed this up originally and said, talk about your freshman, sophomore year, that's 2/3 of our decision. And that's not to put pressure on somebody, it's just awareness. That when you're going through this and you're thinking about does my freshman year, how does it impact me? It does. And what I will also say is that some people need that year to gain some momentum. So if as a freshman, it doesn't click right away, if you will, or there's things going on in your life, we understand that. And so that's where down the road it comes into, like she said, trends, a personal statement explaining what the situation was. There's avenues to be able to help with that. But just remember, freshman, sophomore year is important. In your second portion, Eric, with regards to core classes, Carrie did a great job of framing up like these ideal classes or recommended classes to take by all three of the public schools. If you're watching this on a recording or video here, you're going to see that. I will say, with regards to math, obviously English, all the core classes, social studies, and the one that most people talk about is world language. And Eric, are you okay if I hit on that right now real quick?
Yes,
Okay, sounds
please
good.
do.
World language is still important. There's a lot of reasons for that. Just be aware that as a first year freshman or a sophomore, be thinking about how many years do I need to take? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? And every college could have a different response to that, but just it's something to take into consideration when you have discussions with your high school counselor.
Oh, great point. Thank you, Chris. Tyler, I wanted to give you a chance as well. Nellie and Chris talked a lot about it, but anything else to add on with the first couple of years in high school and the importance of those?
Yeah, looking at the community college side, that's where we might differ a little bit than some of the four-year institutions, and how Kirkwood is now different than when I was going to and worked at Mount Mercy, for example. Most community colleges are going to be what's considered open access, meaning that while we're looking at grades and test scores and other placements, here at Kirkwood, nobody is going to be denied acceptance. So anyone who applies and wants the opportunity to learn would have that opportunity here at Kirkwood. Now, with saying that, there are certain programs here where there might be additional steps to get accepted into those directly based on what Chris had said with, have you taken enough science classes and things to begin certain healthcare programs, for example. So while I say that, I've seen GPAs of 4.4 and I've seen GPAs of 1.4, but I want to reflect on what everyone's been saying here. The first and second year of high school are very important. And I'm looking at that more so from most things in life revolve around creating habits, good or bad. And I think getting in the right mindset and creating good habits early makes things easier. To what Chris had mentioned at the end of, it's not great to be like I was and maybe scrambling your senior year and trying to like catch up at that point when it may be too late for certain places you might have interest in. So buckle down, start off on the right foot, and everything's just going to be much easier for you there on out.
All right, appreciate all three of you. That's very good advice. So thank you for that. And I think we've got a couple of students who probably did do a lot of this while they were in high school to help give some of that same advice as well. This time I'm gonna start with Maisie. Maisie, what was one high school experience that you could nail down, maybe two, that really prepared you for a transition to college?
Yeah, so my high school offered dual enrollment courses also through the Des Moines Area Community College, or DMAC, and I really took advantage of that. I got a good chunk of credits done. I even got some credits that counted towards my major done, which was really, really nice to get those out of the way as well. My high school also offered a college preparatory English class that I took, which was also really good. I think that might have been a little bit unique for us, but if there's anything that says like college prep or has that in the description of the class, I would always recommend taking that. Those teachers are going to know what your college professors are going to be expecting from you, whether it is writing or it's a different subject. So I really learned how to write some strong papers that way. I also did a program through my high school called Apex, which was a professionalism kind of course where you also would go and job shadow and go and learn at different universities in Des Moines. You go to different businesses. I did more of a medical specific one. So we would go to different hospitals or like medical supplying clinics, different things like that. But getting those job shadow experiences and getting those kind of those one-on-one conversations with people actually in the field really, really helped me. I know we've said kind of learning what you don't want to do. That's so important because that kind of narrows the pathway down and it makes it a little less stressful. It's one less weight off your shoulder if you know what you don't want to do. And I definitely learned some of the things I didn't want to do through that. So definitely job shadowing. Most people are always going to say yes to you. If you are interested in their profession and want to see what they do, or at least some kind of like informational interview, put together a few questions, do a Zoom interview, and just ask them what their day-to-day life is. They'd be happy to talk about it.
Maisie, when did you start doing some of these job shadows? What year in high school?
Yeah, I was a junior. I was a first semester junior in high school when I started doing those. And actually one of my job shadows turned into a job for me because when I was there, they were talking about, it was at a pharmacy. They were talking about how they needed employees. It's like, well, I would love to work here. And so then I ended up working there for, I just left last summer. So I was there for 4 years, which was pretty awesome. And I wouldn't have had that job or the connections at all if I wouldn't have job shadowed. So that was really cool.
One more question. How many did you do?
Good question. I shadowed 2 different pharmacists, a hospital and a community. I shadowed an occupational therapist, an athletic trainer. So 4, I think 4. I kind of just chose the big broad things that I kind of was interested in and went with those. So 4.
Thank you. Okay, 4. Thank you. Britton, same question to you. Any experience that really prepared you for your transition to college? But also, I wouldn't mind you eventually talking about if you did any job shadowing or internships while in high school too.
Yeah, so my high school did a little deal with local colleges where they sort of ran workshops for us to go in, learn a couple of these things that you guys are talking about right now, that responsibility, getting on the ball, you want to get started right now. And so that was really helpful. Also, just checking out those colleges and visiting, seeing what I did and didn't like, gave me kind of that sense of where I wanted and what I was kind of interested in. And they were optional for students, and there were some that chose to kind of check out, but I wanted to go to as many as physically possible, and it really gave me the sense of what I was looking for. As well as internships, I did do a shadow with a teacher where I was kind of co-teaching this class with her, and it was a very helpful experience. I got involved with some administrative duties as well, grading. I was able to sub under supervision at one point, and that gives you a lot of responsibility, which is something that, college, you're all on your own. So that's a huge thing that like can be hard to learn if you don't have that structure, but it was a really helpful experience for me.
Awesome. Great. Great. Thank you. And how many job shadows did you do in high school?
I did 3 over the course of my high school career.
When did you start? When did you start?
My first one would have been my junior year. I started as a
Junior
TA.
year. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm actually going to bring this up. Chambray, I'm going to come to you. Can you maybe expound on more about how students eventually in high school would take advantage of doing any job shadows or internships, where they might start in asking about those or finding out more about those?
So different, especially with getting involved, a lot of high schools, I know that Boone High School in particular, we have IJAG. We also have EDGE, which is a really big program here. And so in order to get into those, to do these job shadow experiences, these apprenticeships, things that we're talking about, these teachers are looking at the first 2 years of what are our grades looking like. Also reaching out to teachers and talking about, hey, how are they in class? Do they show up on time? You know, those soft skills that we've all been talking about tonight. And so making sure that those first 2 years were really on target for those. Being aware, I know that a big struggle in something as you're starting out, making sure that you are checking your email on a consistent basis. A lot of teachers, also, you know, myself, there's administrators, there's community businesses, local colleges that are reaching out and sending emails and opportunities. So please make sure that that's either a reminder, a set reminder, or just a habit that you begin with is to check your email. That's one of the biggest things that I can also emphasize.
And that's another one that I think at orientations, colleges will tell students to do is check their college emails for needing things. So starting the habit now and continue on, like's been brought up. That's great. Brett, I've got a question that came in. I'm going to ask you to see if you can respond to this, a question that came in the chat. And the question is advanced placement classes the same as dual enrollment classes?
I appreciate the question, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning the differences myself. This is my first year actually at the high school level counseling. I've been working with high school students in various capacities over the last 10 years, but I'm still learning the differences myself. But it's my understanding that both can get you college credit. And Chambray, you might have to pipe up to verify some of this, but both can get you college credit. Dual enrollment, I think you can take at a college campus for the credit, but also to satisfy your core classes that you need at the high school level. And then AP classes you just take there in your building. We also have, you know, in Des Moines Central campus that isn't a comprehensive campus. That's more of like an intervention campus for students who want more accelerated learning. But that's what I can speak to in that regard at the moment. But I'm wondering, Chambray, if you have more insight about the differences there between the two.
Yeah, so check out, ask that teacher as well of what there is. So we have English teachers here at Boone High School that teach a DMAC course, like it's called DMAC Creative Writing. And they work with that college, and that one, they are working for that dual credit. There are separate courses that are just advanced, so AP, right? Those advanced placement courses, there is a test that you can pay for. It also depends on your school, what kind of supports that they give. I believe here students do pay for that test at the end, but you can take it and you can earn that AP credit. And so it all depends on the different structures, who's teaching the course. But I know for here, like for example, a DMAC labeled course is going to that dual credit will give you that. And then our AP, I know that like I had taken, for example, I went to Iowa, the University of Iowa, and I took an AP training. And so I was able to teach and take AP courses. However, I did not have my master's. And so I could not teach a dual credit course, if that makes sense.
Thank you. I'm actually going to come to the admissions folks a little bit about this as well, if you wouldn't mind, just to, even though we've got freshmen that are just starting, but to give them an idea on what to expect. Chris, I'm going to start with you on this. How does the University of Iowa look at advanced placement, dual credit classes, you know, for students that are going to be applying to Iowa when the time comes as high school seniors? And any advice that you would give students and even parents of the students about taking those classes?
Yeah, I'll start with, I think this conversation's happening earlier. So for freshmen and or for sure sophomores, when you start hearing in the hallway or through parent conversations, peer conversations, you start hearing people talk about AP, advanced placement, and dual credit. So this is becoming more commonplace. The piece I'll say is that for us here specifically at Iowa, we'll accept both of them. Okay, so whether you're doing advanced placement courses, because that's what your school focuses a little bit more on, or dual credit, we will accept both of them. The difference for us is similar to what Chambray just said a little bit, I think, is for us the dual credit that comes in, your grade will follow you as well. Okay, so if you've taken 5, 10 classes, whatever, likelihood of those classes transferring, I would be optimistic. But your grade will follow you. And in many cases, that's good. But it also, I would say, forces you to really stay focused in that class and to be successful, hopefully, in that class. Advanced placement, like she hit on, you have to take a test. And some schools, it's a 1 through a 5 score. And some schools might accept a 3, some might be 4, some might be 5s. So every institution will have those on their website that you can see what score would they need to obtain to be able to get credit for that. But you have to take a test to be able to get credit for that. The difference is, quickly, I'm gonna pivot a little bit out of the state of Iowa. I would say that if somebody's looking at highly selective schools, some of the listeners right now, highly selective schools, those are conversations you want to have with those institutions, in the sense that they might not consider community college courses. They look at that in the sense of, like, that's wonderful that you're taking them to challenge yourself, but you may not get credit for those. They may say the only way you're going to get credit potentially is through advanced placement. That's really expanding here, but that's if somebody's looking out of state, more highly selective schools, something to consider.
Thank you, Chris. Nellie, I wanted to ask you the same thing. Anything to add on to what Chris had mentioned about AP dual enrollment classes?
No, I think he pretty much covered it. At Briarcliff, we do have, we accept both, AP and dual credit. So, for example, if a student is taking, an AP course at their high school, they do need to take the test in order for it to count, and score at least a 3 in order for it to transfer to Briarcliff. And then they do have to pay a cost in order for it to show on their Briarcliff transcript as well. So that's how we do it with the AP courses. Now, as far as dual credit, for example, we have a deal with Bishop Heelan Catholic High School here in Sioux City, where some of those students can take dual credit with us. So the student is taking the college course. So we have writing in the digital age, for example, a student can take at Heelan, a high school student can take that. It is a high school teacher that's teaching it, but you get Briarcliff credit. So if then that Heelan student wants to go to University of Iowa, they can call Briarcliff and be like, hey, I took writing in the digital age with Briarcliff while I was in high school. Please send my transcript to the University of Iowa. That way they know that I took it. So that's kind of the way that we do it. Obviously, if they transferred, if they come over to Briarcliff, we know that they took that class. But yeah, so I think that's the main difference with us with the AP and the dual credit. Is there's a little bit more of a cost, I would say, with the AP courses, having to take the test and then having it show up on your transcript.
Nellie, somebody did ask if it for the AP course, if it's accepted as college credit, does the grade GPA follow you into college like dual credit does?
Oh, I don't know that one. I don't want to lie, so I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd rather not say because I don't know. I wish our registrar office was here.
Eric, I'll
Yeah,
just say, Nellie, if you're okay, I'll just say for us, the grade does not
yeah,
follow. That's a high
okay.
school course, if you will. And so for us, you will get credit for it. It'd be, let's say if it was AP psychology,
Mhm.
you would get 3 credits towards an intro to psych class specifically at Iowa or many colleges, but it would just be the course and the credits and not the grade.
Okay, perfect. I don't know if that's a statewide thing or if it's every college kind of picks whatever they want to do, but thank you, Chris, for answering that.
Tyler, I wanted to actually come to you next. A little bit different question into this. As an institution that's offering a lot of dual enrollment classes to your area high school students, any advice that you would give students as they're going through high school about being ready to take those courses?
Yeah, I think speaking with your school counselor to make sure that it's going to fit into your schedule and that you have availability to take it and you're not maybe overloading yourself with some stuff. Before I get into that really quick, I did want to address, I think I saw an additional question in the chat come up with the AP, as far as do those count towards requirements or core classes of a degree versus just coming in as electives. So I'll speak to Kirkwood. If someone takes an AP course and they test out of it and they get a grade that meets the 3 through 5, like we've talked about, it could come in as a core class depending on what major they're wanting to do. If they're taking a class that is not required for welding, for example, here, then it may have to come in as an elective because welding is a very, very technical hands-on class where nothing AP related is probably going to relate to the core classes. So it kind of depends on the major, but it could come in for either. But as far as dual credit here at Kirkwood, for example, Kirkwood in total has 12,500 students, and about 5,000 of those are strictly high school students starting to take college classes through Kirkwood. So it's a huge population here. As far as why you should be looking to do it, we've talked about kind of narrowing down not only what you want to do, but what you don't want to do as the cost perspective. Majority of school districts in Iowa are going to cover that cost of paying for those credits for students. And that's a very good way for you to sample something of letting someone else pay for it versus you paying for it a couple of years down the road. So here at Kirkwood, one 3-credit class is $651. At other institutions, it may be $1,000, it might be $2,000. You can view that as a scholarship. It's saving you money potentially down the road. And similar to that with the AP tests, some of those exams might have fees of $30, $40 to take. And that can be a lot of money for some of us. But I'll hear some students say, like, I don't plan on testing out of it. If you have the money, I would encourage you to, because 30 or 40 bucks, that could save you 600 to $2,000. I think that's a fair trade-off in my view, but take advantage of the classes. Don't overdo it, but definitely start sampling some stuff.
Thank you, Tyler, and thank you all to try talking about this. Again, for some of the high school freshman families, it may seem a little bit early onto this, but as Chris mentioned, it's happening earlier and earlier. And if you do have any more questions later on, we would encourage you to check with your high school counselors. Want to bring the college students back in again. Britton, I'll start with you this time. Even though we're talking to high school freshman families tonight, still like to get your response from what factor or factors were most important to you in picking the college that you decided to go to there at Briarcliff? What were some factors that were most important to you?
Yeah, so a lot of students, a big factor is scholarships, but for me, I actually chose a college that was a little more expensive because I really loved the community, the culture, and especially the professors at Briarcliff. I got to meet some of the professors before I came here, and they kept in touch with me, kept me involved with things that were going on campus before I was even decided to come here. And that sense of community, that was really something that drew me there, especially because like you can go somewhere that's cheaper and that might be the better option for you, but also like you have to take into account, are you going to be happy while you're going there as well? And are they going to be able to get you the experiences that you want? Especially for me, I'm going into education, and I met with the education department and they laid out really well a program for me to go through to become a teacher one day. So it was really the professors that drew me to Briarcliff.
How many colleges did you visit, before you made your official decision?
I'm gonna say probably like six to eight, somewhere around there.
And when did you start those visits?
I started those in my sophomore year, whether it be through the school or on my own accord.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. I guess that's one reason why we want to bring up some of these questions. It can seem very early in the first semester of a freshman year in high school, but things start happening sophomore, junior, getting into senior year, and just trying to not cram it all, as Tyler mentioned, in May of your senior year, and that to be able to spread that out, I think will be a little bit less stressful. So Maisie, same question to you. What factors were important to you in picking the University of Iowa?
Yeah, so excuse me. I knew that I wanted to do something in the health sciences field. I just wasn't entirely sure what. I had a few different ideas, a few different paths I knew I could take. And when I visited Iowa, obviously we have the hospital right on campus, which was a huge draw for me specifically. I really wanted to get involved with that, and I wanted to kind of use every opportunity I could with that as well. But when I visited Iowa, I talked with an admissions counselor about how I was kind of unsure about exactly what I wanted to do, but I had some ideas, and they really reassured me that I was going to be able to figure out my path regardless of what it was. Spend the first year taking those like general chemistry, biology, math classes, get some gen eds out of the way, while also like learning about some of the other majors on campus. My academic advisor would help me figure out different things like that. And by the end of my freshman year, I had declared speech and hearing, and I'm obviously still doing speech and hearing. So that was a big draw, was kind of the availability to sample different majors, take that loosely, sample different aspects of the healthcare, the health sciences, be able to utilize that hospital as well was really awesome. But then another thing was definitely location. I grew up in Des Moines, which is about a 2-hour drive from here. So it was just far enough away for me that I felt like I was really going to college, but I knew that I could still come home whenever I needed to or wanted to, or I missed my dog or something like that. So that was also a huge thing for me, was kind of that happy medium distance for sure.
And I think you said you started sophomore year as well,
I
in
did.
visiting. How
Mhm.
many schools did you visit before you made your decision?
I think I visited probably 8-ish, maybe a couple of more. I did a lot of unofficial visits too, because in Des Moines we have Des Moines University, Mercy, Drake. So I had been there before. And then my mom's from Minnesota, northern Minnesota, and there's 3 colleges kind of right around where she was from. So I kind of just walked around those campuses as well. But I probably got between like 8 and 10, I would say.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Um, we've had great advice so far. We're starting to wind down now. I'm actually got one question that I want to ask all the panelists again, but as I say that, I want to put out a last call also for any questions that you might have in the chat box too. But the question I want to go around with everyone as we wind down our time tonight is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you think would be good advice for the high school freshmen and their families? Or maybe there's something that we talked about, we just briefly talked about, that you think we need to reiterate again. And so, Chambray, I'm actually going to start with you on that. I've got to start with somebody, and I've been starting with the counselors at first. So I'm going to start with you on that. Is there any other advice that you'd give the high school freshmen or families that we haven't talked about, or something that we have that you would like to reiterate?
Really quick, kind of going to the chat quick, is and I know that every student is different, right? Personally, one of the things that I recommend is don't feel a pressure right away to jump to AP or to these advanced placement classes. That first semester, especially, like just kind of like get your footing, figure out those habits, get in the classes, get to know the building, get to know the teachers, those kinds of things. But every student is different. Just don't feel a pressure to like right out the gate all of a sudden. I think there's something to say for really building that strong foundation of who you are as a student, and then using and finding those strengths and then using them as you go into those more advanced courses. The other thing that we haven't necessarily talked about, but that first year, is schools love communication. And so don't feel like you need to wait for conferences to have a conversation. Don't feel like you need to wait to the end of semester or when grades come out. Is that, have your student advocate. Those advocacy skills are crucial. Or reach out with some questions that you have, or get to know the counselors at the back to school events. Those kinds of things is just don't feel like, oh, there hasn't been an opportunity, should I wait? Is reach out anytime.
One more question for you, Sharon. One that I really hadn't, that I did want to see if you had any advice on, are there any events and activities you would encourage high school freshmen to be doing this year? Any specific events or activities?
I would say anything that has to be like group oriented. And so anything out there where there's leadership, so building up those skills, if it's like a confidence thing, whatever it might be, if it's wanting for public speaking, debate, those kinds of things, is just to, especially if you're new to a district as a student, is look for something right away that has to deal with getting involved, like from a team oriented perspective.
Well, thank you, Chambray. And again, we really thank you for being here tonight and sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Brett, I'm coming to you with the same question or even questions on there. Any advice that maybe something we haven't mentioned or something to reiterate? And then I would also ask you the same question about any events or activities you can think of that you would definitely encourage freshmen to do this year.
Yeah, it's a really great point to end on, Eric. And I guess I would just reiterate some things that have been mentioned earlier. And I think I can answer both questions with one response, is to really lean into connection. And so that might be connection with your peers, that might be connection with adults in the building. And adults in the building, that's a very good term, right? It might be your teachers, it might be associates, it might be a clerk, it might be a secretary, it might be an admin or something like that. Or it might be then coaches as well. And so then when you're leaning into connection, I'd also recommend for students to be in one sport throughout the year. Now that might be a fall sport, it might be a summer sport, whenever works for you, and then one club, just to try to keep your experiences as diverse as you can, but also to challenge yourself to learn a little bit more about yourself, just because as you're going through your secondary experience, you're going to really want to discover what your strengths are, what your areas of growth are. So when it comes to applying to colleges, you have an idea of what you can put in those personal statements to really give those institutions a clear idea of who you are. But that really starts with leaning into the different kinds of connection that you can find in high school.
Well, thank you, Brett. And thank you too for being here tonight. I really appreciate getting the school counselor perspective on these questions. Next, I want to bring it to our admissions folks. And Tyler, I'll start with you. Any last words of wisdom to our high school freshman families? Something we might have talked about or something new that we hadn't brought up yet?
I'm thinking of as you get to like your junior and senior year, when everyone's asking you, where are you going? What are you studying? What are you doing? And it becomes a lot, and we don't know the answers to those questions yet. That's okay. Especially when it comes to like selecting a program or major. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves of thinking we need to know what to do, thinking we need to be done with college in 2 years or 4 years. Take your time. You're gonna realize at some point you're working a lot longer than you're in school. So taking another semester year to figure out what you enjoy doing every day is absolutely worth it. And just a little bit of insight. All the adults on this and those out there watching too, we don't actually know what like 80% of our friends do every day. We know where they work. We don't know what they do. There's people who don't know what their spouses do. There's jobs out there that we have no clue about and you guys haven't learned about yet. That's the fun part. I think there's a big misunderstanding with what education is meant to be, of thinking I'm going to college to get one job. No, you're going to college to learn. It's education about other people, why they think different, why they act different. And you'll hear people who say this statement, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't even use my degree. They might not work in that field, but they're using parts of their degree. A communications class, everything we're saying, working with each other, knowing how to interview for the job you want. Psychology, why do people feel this way around me, act this way around me? Those are universal in whatever you do in life. So take your time, take a deep breath. Everyone on here believes in you guys. You just got to believe in yourself.
Well, that's very good advice, Tyler. Thank you. And that kind of brought to my mind, I didn't go to college for this, but I wouldn't be here. And I don't think you would, others, we wouldn't be here without it. So great advice there. And thank you for being on here tonight too. Nellie, coming to you with the same questions.
Yep. So I think a topic that we didn't really hit on, and I'm sure you guys have different sessions on this, is going to be about scholarships. Definitely, once you do start looking into colleges, have to defend myself a little bit as a Catholic university. don't be scared by that sticker price. You know, yes, it looks very expensive, but after you put in the scholarships in there, you know, that tuition can definitely come down a little bit. So, you know, don't get scared away. Don't panic. You know, once you see that 4 years from now, when you guys are seniors, the cost of college is going to go up even a lot more too. So, compared to what it is now. So just don't get scared away by that sticker price. Definitely visit as many colleges as you can. Is probably the best thing that you can do as well, and talk to your admissions counselor. That's what we're here for, is to help you and guide you and help you with the entire admissions process.
Great. Thank you, Nellie. And also thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Chris, wanted to come to you next with your last words of wisdom to the high school freshman families.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief with this, Eric, and I think it's important for a college to second what Chambray said earlier with regards to AP. It's easy for us to talk about advanced placement because those questions we get asked, advanced placement, dual credit. I just want to support and reiterate what she said in the sense of it's okay if you're not ready for that or you don't want to potentially do that. Your experience is what you make of it. Some of you might take 1 or 2 college classes in high school, some might take 0, and some might do almost 2 years worth. None of those paths are right or wrong, but make your own path, and it all end up the right way.
Great advice. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for being here tonight again. Britton, I'm going to come to you now to our students. Want to ask you both the same question as well. So Britton, starting with you, what advice would you give the high school freshmen right now?
I've heard a couple other panelists touch on it, but one of the biggest things I would stress is kind of those social interactions, building up your communication skills, your relationships with people in your school, because that'll serve you both getting into college, but once you get to college, those social skills are going to come in handy all the time, both as a student and maybe even becoming a leader one day. And colleges will really love to look at those skills that you have.
Can I interrupt? Sorry. Britton, can you tell them what you're all involved in on campus?
I'll keep it brief. But I run 2 clubs. I'm the secretary of another club. I'm an RA, I'm an orientation leader, and I also work as a tour guide in admissions, as well as going along with a double major as well.
Well, I'm glad you carved out a little time for us then with everything else that is going on with you. You're probably missing one of those club meetings or something else right now by being with us tonight. But thank you for attending here, Britton. We really appreciate all your advice and everything that you've given to us. And
Thank
good
you for
luck
having
not only
me.
with this sophomore year here, but in finishing up your college career as well.
Thank you so much.
Maisie, coming to you. Last words of wisdom to the high school freshmen and families right now.
Yeah, really quick, I'm gonna ride the AP train for just a second. I didn't take an AP class until my senior year, and it was the only AP class I took. I also didn't start my dual enrollment classes until my junior year. I don't even think I knew what the term dual enrollment meant as a freshman. So if that's not something that's on your radar for this year, that's okay. It wasn't on mine. AP definitely wasn't on my radar my freshman year. I still got to college. I'm still successful in college, I think. But kind of my big piece of advice, more focused on what I should be talking about here. You know, education is obviously probably the biggest piece in the puzzle when picking a college, but just underneath of that is how you feel on the campus. You know, can you picture yourself there? Does it feel like home? Do you think you can live there for at least 4 years? Because, you know, if you're going to get a good education there, that's great, but it's gonna be hard to be successful and to enjoy your time if you don't like where you are. So make sure you feel at home. Make sure you feel like this is your place. You know, you can't, it's not a great feeling about being iffy about a university. And then it's an even worse feeling if you are like, well, okay, I'll just settle and I'll just go to that one. Don't do that. Go where you feel like you belong.
Excellent. Thank you, Maisie, for being here tonight as well, and good luck with your last semester
Thank
within
you. Thanks
college
for
there
having me.
too. So, all right, that wraps up our panelist portion. Just to finish up the evening, I'm going to turn it back over to my colleague, Carrie.
Thank you. Again, counselors, admission representatives, college students, thank you for joining us. You provided excellent information for all of these parents and students. Parents, students, I hope you can take away at least one little tidbit from tonight to help you have a successful high school career, enjoy high school, and planning for your career and any post-secondary routes you go. We at ICAN are available to help at any time. Please feel free to reach out to us on our website, speak with your high school counselors, and you can reach out to any admissions representatives at any time at a college you are looking at going to, and they are happy to help answer any questions you have. So again, please reach out to any one of us and we'd be happy to help. Have a great night.